there's another case I'll give you. I had a guy come to me, said I'm struggling with porn, right?
Yeah.
Talk about it. Comes back, still struggling. This goes on for months.
Sure.
And I can't take it anymore. I say, hey, man, you need to go home. You need to take a baseball bat to your computer.
That's it.
He does it.
Oh, okay.
You know what he does?
Phone.
Picks up the phone.
Hey, welcome to Not a Fitted Podcast. It's your boy, Anthony, the conservative Chicano. I got my guys. I got the bishop. I got the token. I am back from hell. It was 114 degrees in Phoenix, Arizona. But I got my Bucky shirt. That's all that matters. We're going to take a good look at the Buckies. Goodyear, Arizona. I was in Buckeye. Bucky should have been in Buckeye instead of Goodyear. That's all. It just sounds better. But this was the most crowded Bucky's I've ever seen in my entire life.
Same size?
Same size, wall to wall of people, probably 60 people in line for a brisket sandwich.
I'm out.
Is it
Yeah.
a more touristy area?
I don't know. It was brand new. Is brand new
Oh, okay.
open. So I
That's
think there's
why,
some
yeah.
nostalgic. Even the lady who was doing the cash register said, "I've never seen it this busy." I think people are just stopping because
Yeah.
it's a place to stop, and it's one of those deals where people are just having a good time with it. It's just something new, something fresh. So yeah, there you go. It's nostalgic, I suppose. I don't know, but it was packed. I just went in, grabbed my shirt, and took off. That was it. I was like, I don't need anything. Oh, grabbed a great banana pudding. You like banana pudding?
No.
No? What's wrong with you? How you not like banana pudding?
Probably never had it. It doesn't sound good.
Okay, what about you? You like banana pudding? With the wafers in it? Let's go.
I'm not big on pudding, but I've had like bites of banana pudding that I like.
Okay.
It's got to be
him.
like super cold.
Okay, before we got on air, Jeremy was talking about, you got to do one of these challenges. I'm going to bring you some banana pudding.
I mean, I'm not going to like
pudding?
it.
Do you like pudding?
No, I don't eat pudding.
Okay, but you don't got to roller skate. You don't got to put on boots. You don't got to do the I trust my wife challenge. I'm just asking you, will you eat banana pudding?
I'll try a little bit of banana pudding.
Okay.
I don't like bananas either.
How do you, what? What?
I like the wafers. Those are bomb.
I eat the cookie.
How do you not like bananas?
I don't know. I mean, if I'm really like sometimes eating really healthy, I can eat them, but I
Do
don't
you eat
like
anything
them.
healthy?
Yeah, I eat meat. Meat is the best food you can eat.
What about chocolate? You eat a lot of chocolate.
Yeah, I like chocolate. Yep.
Okay, but you said
Okay, but I'm laughing because the only vegetable I really like is lettuce. and you can't eat it right now.
oh my gosh.
I was like, man, how are they going to tell me the only vegetable I
You can't
like?
eat it right now.
No, the coli breakout and stuff.
See, I told you guys. Yeah, people don't believe me. When I survived, everyone dead. I told them. Stop eating that stuff.
It's that vegetables that were bad for you.
Yeah,
huh?
yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Yeah, so Phoenix, middle of Saturday, we're coming home. We went to Mark Driscoll's church on Saturday. Mark Driscoll's church, and they had a 2:00 in the afternoon service, and they had snow outside.
What?
They brought in like 40 tons of snow.
Oh, they brought in snow.
Legit, and
Yeah.
it was melting so fast.
For what?
Because it was Christmas in July.
Man,
Doing too much? Hey, that's
when
some
you
white
got
people stuff.
when you got the money.
Yeah, that's some rich white people stuff right there. You got money like that? You bringing in snow for your kids?
No.
No?
Yes, no.
I'm telling you.
Go get some ice.
Yeah, you get a slushie. Go ahead. So that's your people, man. What do you say to that? Doing too much?
Man, instead of buying that snow, kick it down a little bit, We'll take it.
So we were driving back in. I looked up and I saw clouds and I was like, hey, it's going to thunderstorm. You could totally tell. And we're driving back to Buckeye and this dust storm out of nowhere just comes. It is blowing stuff everywhere. It is nuts. Absolutely nuts. And next thing you know, it just starts pouring rain. And so it went from 110 to 108. It cooled it off 2 degrees, but it was so muggy.
Wow.
108, 100% humidity.
Ooh.
So you know what I did? I stayed in the hotel room. I didn't come out till it all passed by. I was like, I ain't coming out yet. So, but yeah, so no, shout out Social Church, an amazing, amazing church. Pastored by Fernando and Nicole Mejia. They're just doing a great job. Had a great time out there. Church is 6 months old, and they are legit still running 500 people a weekend. Like legit. I could show you videos and pictures of both services. They did a young adults gathering that Saturday night. Had a little over 150 people show up. It was just incredible. Absolutely. God is doing a great work there.
They meet in a school.
They meet in a school, in a charter school, and it was just an honor and privilege to be out there just to see what God is doing. And man, just great.
Set up, tear down.
Set up and tear down. Half the place was cooled off and half the place wasn't. It got hot real quick. It got hot. So took a walk in the morning, and by 8 o'clock it was 92 degrees. That's different. That hits different. Just for the record, I just want everybody to know. I was really appreciative of Fresno. Like, you know,
I don't know, man. We're not all that much better. The other week it was
no, it's been good. Like,
man, it was 83 degrees at 4 o'clock in the morning the other day.
Yesterday was overcast.
Okay, can I just say something? There's a difference between 94 and 104.
Yes.
And
there's a huge difference.
Okay, hold on. There's a difference between 104 and 114.
Well, it's supposed to be like it's supposed to be, I think, 110.
I know, but I'm just saying. So when you all had 98 and I was 114, there's a big difference. I'm just throwing that out there because you can get in the shade, it could be like 90. You get in the shade at 114, it's 105. That's hot.
I played baseball in Phoenix, and my cleats started melting to my feet.
I have no doubt about that. I saw kids, they were doing soccer practice. We got to the school to set up, and it was 8 o'clock, and they were doing soccer practice. I was like, that's hot already. Like, rule 101, why I ain't playing soccer. You're going to make me run at 103 degrees.
Oh, they're probably finishing. They probably
hopefully
started
they were
at
finishing.
6.
Yeah, hopefully. But so shout out. It was a good time. But hey, okay, we got to get to something funny. You guys know me. I love the life. You said Nate Bargatze. Is that how you say his name?
Bargatze.
He was in Fresno, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I found a clip, or somebody you said the clip.
Yeah, I think I said
okay,
that.
somebody anonymously said this clip. Watch this right there. Come on.
Sometimes my wife, she'll go to bed, and then she comes back with a blanket, and she lays next to me. And she's like, well, I'm going to just sleep out here, and I'll go to bed when you go to bed. And I don't care for that at all. It's like you already promised to go to bed, and I got pretty excited, so I don't... I think that's the hardest part of marriage. How do you say that nicely? How do you tell the person that you love more than life itself? How do you say, hey, out of all the people on earth, you're the only one I don't want near me right now?
Okay. We probably shouldn't comment on this at all.
Well, that's not true for me. Maybe if you don't have small kids.
Okay. Good save. I've got small kids.
So I don't know. You guys can spend time together all the time, easy.
Yeah,
I don't get that opportunity like that.
I'm just gonna pass. I'm gonna leave it up to you two.
Why never stay out on the couch watching TV while she goes to bed?
Do
never.
you watch much TV these days?
No.
Yeah, I don't. I was gonna say my kids always the TV
belongs to them.
Maybe I watched some type of sport on there recent, like a couple months ago.
F1, something.
But other than that, yeah.
Does the TV even belong to you?
No, I don't. I have my own special remote if I have to use it because they always break the remotes. So they have their remote that barely works, and I have a remote that stays hidden.
What do you keep? Oh, there's the answer. You keep it hidden.
Yeah.
Do you feel like a grown man when you hold that remote though?
No, I mean I barely use it. I still barely use it.
I remember.
Is it like a different color?
No, it's the same. It's the same like type of remote. Is this? I bought them. They broke theirs. I bought them another one. They lost it. So I'm like, well, use the broken one. And I got my own. I bought another one that I use if I need to use a TV.
That's a smart man right there. But don't you feel like the king of your castle when you got that remote in your hand, that scepter? Like you watching a show, like I am the man today. And then the little one walks in and won't leave you alone. Like, what do you want to watch?
Here, man, you got the TV.
Yeah. I was gonna watch it anyway. I'll watch it later. You have your own remote?
No.
Are you in charge of your remote?
I'm in charge of everything.
Is that how that works in the cookhouse?
That's how it works. But I usually give it away to everybody.
You can see it's mine to give. Here, you take it. Yeah, especially for to keep peace. Hey, it's funny what you'll do to keep peace. You know that?
For sure.
It's funny. Like if you start talking about where you're gonna go eat, it's not where you want to eat. Is where can we keep them happy if we go eat?
Yeah. I mean, you can talk big, like, no, you can do this, do that. It was like, you just worn down. It's just slowly, where you're like, you know what? It ain't worth it.
It's not. I tell people that all the time. It's like, you ever go to a restaurant, you see they brought their kids, you're like, oh, that's not going to last. That's not gonna last. And 30 minutes in, like it's not lasting. The plane is crashing.
Yep.
Right?
Shouldn't have done that.
Shouldn't have done it.
Shouldn't have done that.
Should have went to Chick-fil-A.
Should have went to McDonald's.
Yep. Should have went to McDonald's. Should have went to a Playland.
Oh yeah. If we watch a movie, I would say 8 out of 10 times it's probably something I don't want to watch.
Oh, for sure. With the kids.
But if they want to watch it and they're quiet,
Oh, I'll watch it.
let's go.
I'll fall asleep, actually. I mean, my son will tell you that. All my kids will tell you I fell asleep through every movie because I didn't really want to watch it. But, yeah, half the movies we went to or 3/4, 90% of the movies we went to at the movie theater was nothing I wanted to watch. I mean, I saw every kid movie there was. And I was like, except for, I have not seen Finding Nemo. People still get mad about that.
That was a good one.
I haven't seen it either.
They're hold on. If you want us to watch Finding Nemo, what are you willing to give to this? So this is a challenge I'll accept. This is it costs us nothing. It doesn't do anything but an hour and a half of our time about some blow-up
Because
fish.
you didn't have kids when it came out.
No,
huh?
I didn't. No.
I did. I still didn't watch Finding Nemo. I don't know how I got away with that, but this challenge accepted. We'll start the bidding at $25 a pop for a person. I'll watch it for $25. Will you watch? I'll watch it. Once you watch it, I'll bring you Reese's peanut butter cups and a bucket of popcorn. We're gonna watch Finding Nemo.
Sure.
Okay. See, Deshaun's in.
Hey, this is a good one.
Are you in?
I think your kids would like it.
Are you in? You're in, right?
I'm sure they've seen it.
Oh, they've seen it. You just haven't seen it.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
Got it.
Yes. Okay. So I forget who sent me this, but you guys, as most people know, that we're big sports fans here. Everybody knows you're the baseball guy, and then you're basketball, and I love football. But we all love football, that type of stuff. But I forget who sent us this. But
Sorry, but our sports fit us well with our racial stereotypes.
I didn't think about that's so true. I didn't think about that.
Well, he's supposed to like soccer. It's a little bit off.
but he's not
It's
like
the other football.
because he's not like a traditional Mexican.
Oh, gotcha. He's a traditional Raider fan, Mexican.
Yes, true.
Yeah,
Very
that's
true.
it.
Stereotype. I
Yes.
fit it.
Second
perfectly.
generation.
Second generation
That's right.
Mexican.
I
Yeah.
fit it perfectly. But I forget who said this, but you guys all know. I think it was, correct me if I'm wrong, it was Deion Sanders, right? Who talked about
Oh, yes.
what to look in a defensive lineman. He's talking about on a recruiting trip, and he wanted a kid who came from a dad who wasn't in the home. I'm right on that, right? And then if it was a quarterback, had to have mom and dad. So there was these different stereotypes that they were looking for. Well, of course, it's going to make its way into comedy. And so I don't know who this guy is, but I must have watched it 3 times and laughed harder every time. So if you're not a football person, this is a joke that's kind of hard to understand. But if you love football, this is absolutely classic. Watch this one.
My son wants to play in the NFL. Yeah. 9 years old. He's played flag football. He's good. He's scored a few touchdowns, but it's against white kids from Santa Monica. It's like, calm down, champ. You know what I mean? Doing a gritty on him. So I asked him, son, do you want to be a good NFL player or a great NFL player? You know what he's gonna tell me? I want to be the best. The best that ever did it, Dad. That's great, son. It's my fault, you know what I mean? Put that wind in his back, so I had to tell him, all right, son, if you want to be the best, we'll get you some coaching and put you on a weight program. And if you really want to be the best, then I'm going to have to leave the family. Hate to break it to you, son, but the best don't know they daddies. I fear I may have stayed too long. Hey, don't cry, man. It's your dream, not mine. Well, my Waymo's here. See you at the ESPYs. No, I'm not gonna leave. I'm gonna stay. Raise this mediocre athlete. Division III schools, here we come, yeah. Wow, Amherst College, good job, son.
Amherst College.
Where's that at, Mike? Where's Amherst? It's in Pennsylvania, isn't it?
I think it's in Massachusetts.
Oh, it's in Massachusetts. I knew it was like
Yeah.
northeast somewhere. Amherst College Division 3. But is that funny?
That's funny.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That is the best. I'm telling you, people.
Because what you said is comedy's funny when it's
It's
true.
real. It's
Yeah.
real. It's real. No, I just thought. He said, "Well, we're gonna put you on a weight program. We're gonna get you some coaching.
Coaching.
I'm gonna have to leave."
I just love like, don't cry. It's your dream.
This is what you want.
Yeah.
No, that was good. That was so good. I think he said my son scored some touchdowns. Gosh. Okay. His mannerisms what sells it for me. You know, like just the way he was talking through the comedy. I once again, I love comedy. So to find something, it was clean. And to find something that's clean, you know, once again, I tell everybody, because this is stereotypical, so we're probably going to get some people who didn't like it being stereotypical. But I think some things, like we played the John Chris one, like we said, and his mom was, what did he say? She went to a Mexican restaurant. She probably practiced her Spanish.
Yeah, I'm gonna order in Spanish.
And then he said, let's go to Cracker Barrel and talk like we're from the South. So I think stuff like that, you know, as long as it's tasteful, you know, there's no vitriol there. He's just, it's most people, when they understand comedy, some comedy is just one punchline after the next, right? So like king of one-liners. And then it's narrated through a story. So start to finish, it's not, you know what I mean? It's not stereotypical, but it is stereotypical. And that's the whole point. He's poking fun at all the stereotypes, which to me, that's what I love. I just love being able to laugh and have a good time. And that part though, D3, here we go. I just can't. That was the part where I lost like Amherst
I'm gonna
College.
say and raise this mediocre athlete.
It was good. It was good. It was good. So shout out whoever sent that to us. Okay. So staying in line with that, I think we have talked about this before, how to share faith. And I think what's come up before is like you see these street preachers, right? We see these street preachers. We see the different tactics, everything from people who just pray for people or do prophetic words or who stand up with a bullhorn. And I think we've all had the same stance. You got to do what's comfortable for you and what the Lord is asking you to do. I don't judge anybody. I know I used to judge the people that stood out in front of abortion clinics. I actually saw a testimony with this guy and this girl. And he did share faith with her, and she didn't get the abortion, and she brought her son up on the stage. And it was like, well, how can you judge the guy? It worked.
Yeah.
Like, anyway, long story short, all I'm saying is I do know we have to share the gospel. And so sticking with football, you guys know who Pat McAfee is?
Yeah.
Yeah, Pat McAfee. How do you know him?
He's I think he was a punter.
I think so. Yep.
But now he's a big radio. Is he the biggest radio guy?
is.
YouTube.
Oh, YouTube.
I thought he had the biggest show on ESPN. Am I wrong?
Well, he's on ESPN now too. But he started off. He had one of the biggest like sports YouTube pages. Then went to ESPN.
And I can't tell if he's controversial or not.
He just does what he wants. That's why people like. He gets to do whatever he wants, say whatever he wants, and he doesn't get in trouble for it.
He's not a puppet.
Yeah, like him and Stephen A. They're kind of like free to do what they want.
Hold on. So he just I'm trying to keep up. He started on YouTube.
So he still has his YouTube that he owns, and that's why that's why they say he does whatever he wants. But like, you fire me, whatever. I go back to my YouTube page. I mean, I still have it, and it's mine. This isn't ESPN's.
So ESPN didn't buy the rights to his YouTube. They bought the rights to him to be
Yeah,
on ESPN.
ESPN. Yeah.
Yeah, because his college football game day shows is the number one rated show they have, isn't it?
Well, he might be on College Game Day, like with it. But I mean, that's ESPN's. He might be
Okay,
just
but
doing
I
a
mean
show.
that's the number one show
Yeah.
that they have currently.
I don't know. I don't know enough
think
about
it is.
ESPN anymore.
I think
Yeah.
it's bigger than even the NFL ones.
If it isn't, it was for years.
Yes, correct. Okay. So anyway, Pat McAfee, very well known, is confronted by this evangelist, this street evangelist. I just think this is a masterclass. I really do. So I wanted to show it. I thought it was really good, keeping in step with what we were talking about just a minute ago with the comedy clip. Watch this one.
My name's Pat McAfee. I used to punt footballs. I have the Pat McAfee Show. It's on ESPN every day.
I'd love to ask you a question.
Okay, I'm excited.
Okay, Pat, did you know Jesus loves you?
Okay, so that's a fascinating thing. I haven't dove completely into it, but obviously as I get older, especially with... Hey, I appreciate you, dude.
I'm a big fan of your show, man.
Thank you, man. That's very cool of you. Okay, so I've gotten more invested in the conversation of, you know, there has to be a reason for everything, you know? And it's been a fun development for me.
Yeah,
so I actually wanted to do a show talking about finding my God. Yeah, I love
Let's
the
go,
thought.
Pat.
I love the thought
Yeah.
of Jesus Christ. I love the thought of that being it. And I think inevitably I will land there because that's kind of how I feel right now.
Sure.
But yeah, I'm excited. I'm in my middle of my journey right now.
I got you, man. That's so awesome. And this was a divine moment, right, for me to encounter you, man.
I think so,
because,
too, yeah.
No doubt, no
That's
doubt. And this
cool.
happens all the time. God calls me to be a messenger. So God really desires a relationship with you, Pat. Like, he knows every hair on your head, man. He knows every tear you've ever cried. He knows everything you've ever done. He still loves you so much. He sent Christ. And Christ is crazy in love with you, man. Like,
That's awesome.
so crazy that he'd send me, some weirdo, just to come and stop you in the street when I'm headed down to the Apple store. You know what
You're
I'm
not a
saying?
weirdo, man. You're a 40-year-old legend who's taking the word to
Ah.
the street.
I just thought that was an absolute masterclass. What'd you think of that?
No, it's good. I like it. I mean, I think it's cool. I think the way he shared it gave him opportunity to talk, to share God's love for him. I mean, I think the thing that people might have with street preachers, like in the past, is just like, you're condemning people. I think that's the idea of the street preacher. And so for you to love people and care for people and show them God's love, I think it's different.
What'd you think of that, Mike?
Yeah, I kind of want to. I want to see. There's got to be a longer video. I want to see how that conversation even started. But I think that it again highlights how you can have somebody who's at the pinnacle of his career. Probably he's probably like the same age as us, so he's probably got young kids.
I would imagine.
You know what I
His
mean?
shirt
So
said dad, yeah.
right. So he like literally is like at the height of his everything, height of his dadhood, height of his being a husband, and obviously his career, and still like searching.
Yeah. No, I once again, I just thought that was a masterclass. I love the way the guy presented it. He wasn't aggressive. He wasn't in his face. He just was having a conversation and just reminded him that God is thinking about him, cares about him, loves him. It's a masterclass to me. I just thought you could go back and watch this guy. He let him talk.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't interrupt him. He didn't condemn him. I don't know. I just think that's a video you could study as a person who shares faith and just, he wasn't starstruck. This is Pat McAfee. Apparently everybody else knew who he was because they were stopping him, and he seemed like a down-to-earth guy. And I don't know. I just thought that was really good. And it just encouraged me that no matter who they are, they still need Jesus. A lot of times we see these people, they have it all, but yet they don't. Because if they don't have Christ, they don't have it all. Matter of fact, everything they have is going to be left to somebody else or taken. So it was just really, really good. I appreciate it. Once again, if you like to share your faith, this is a video you could go back and watch and just take notes and study from his approach, his kind words, the way his mannerisms, just everything was just, to me, I just thought it was great. I don't know who said it to me. I forgot who said it to me, but shout out, excuse me, to those who said to me, okay. I have said this before because I didn't know, but this clip I'm about to show you, he actually is being pastored by the person who has said this. And so, as you know, Jensen Franklin has talked about you need to get under what God has put over so that you can be over what God wants you under, or excuse me, that you could be over what God has placed, underneath you. And so talking about submission to leadership and submission to authority. Well, Javen Chavez goes on to kind of explain this a little bit, and I didn't know, but that's his spiritual father. That's who sent him out to plant a church. He was at his staff. I think it's Faith Chapel in Georgia. So anyway, I thought it was really good. He does a great explanation, a job of talking about being submitted to authority. And what I've noticed is this generation, this is going to be something they have to learn. It's not something that's going to come innate to them. So I just want you to watch this clip and then let's talk about it a little bit.
Every Christian needs a pastor. And you are looking at a pastor who has a pastor. I have a spiritual father. His name is Jensen Franklin. He's my father in the gospel. I preach like him. I think like him. I minister like him. I worship like him. I'm starting to get his hair. I don't know what I'm doing with my hair right now, but I'm just kind of, I don't know. I'm growing it out. I don't know. I don't need any compliments, but if you want to give me one outside, I'll take it because I'm insecure about it. In the gospel, he birthed me. He birthed this ministry. And I have a pastor. His name is Jacob Aranza. Jacob is my 4 calls a week man of God. I'll do nothing without him. He's 70 years old. He's been in the ministry for 50 years. And he's a pastor to pastors. That's what he does with his life. He pastors pastors. And he's my pastor. And when he tells me to do something, I don't say, I'll pray about it. I do it. And here's what I know from my pastor. You don't get what you're around. You get what you are under. You don't get what you're around. You get what you are under. You get what you're under. So here's how to receive from a church. Very simple. You pray for your church. That's how you receive from your church. Serve, give, attend, all that's important, all that's great. I hope everybody does that. But let me tell you how to receive from a house. You pray. Because prayer releases that grace and that oil. If you started praying for me every day, you would walk in every Sunday and you would leave going, I don't know what happened to Jabin. He's the most anointed man of God I've ever heard in my life. And I didn't change. You just started praying.
That was so good. You don't get what you're around, you get what you're under. What'd you think of that clip?
Yeah, I just started thinking about relationally how you could be surrounded by, you know, some of the we talk about, like, let's talk business, right? You could be you could be around some of the top CEOs and executives and just be an acquaintance. You're not necessarily going to get what you're around. I mean, you'll glean from them.
Right.
But that idea of receiving from somebody who's above you and being underneath them, I think there's so much to that. There's going to be the material things. If you have a father who's financially wealthy and you're under him, you're going to get financial blessings. But there's also so much more when we talk about spiritually, how if you're under somebody who can show you how forgiveness is walked out, if you can be under somebody who can show you how to manage your home, if you can be under somebody who can show you how to just do ministry, if you're a pastor, like that apprenticeship that is gone, where you don't really see that anymore. What you see, you know, biblically, or just kind of like early century stuff.
Right.
It's something that I want to probably tap into a little bit more myself, but then also like really push my kids to do that.
Right. So what'd you think of that? You don't get what you're around, you get what you're under.
Yeah, I think we talked about this before. Just you see it a lot right now, like in terms of like business. Mm-hmm. Like people are realizing like they get coaches and they're able to move a lot faster. They move farther a lot faster because they're realizing, man, they have a lot of knowledge they don't understand where to spend their money. And it's effective because it's people who are like, you know, teachers, they're getting bigger and bigger because what they're doing, people keep seeing results. And we can understand that in the business world, but when it comes to like the spiritual part, because it's not necessarily money or tangible in a way, people just ignore it and don't realize how important it is spiritually to have in our lives, or realizing why I'm not receiving for the church. Well, you're not taking those same principles you see in the world.
So good.
Like that idea of being under someone, like we understand it there, but if you come to the church and it was like, this is maybe like a trust or lack of like the spiritual aspect of your life, you don't take it seriously. So you think, no, I don't want that. Or it's like, well, this person just wants something from me. Right. It's all these different types of barriers there could be, but we see it work, you know, with the business. But when it comes to like, hey, spiritual leadership, you're like, you know, I don't want it.
Well, I can even take it a step further. Correct me if I'm wrong, and you guys might not be old enough to remember this, but I think at one time in the NFL, I think it was something like 16 or 18 coaches were under the Bill Walsh tree. It was something ridiculous. Like 16 or 18 head coaches all had a direct connection to Bill Walsh. It was just unreal. And it makes me think of that. There's something about that, right? That you don't get what you're around, you get what you're under. People have been applying this for years, but in the church, we seem to have missed that it's got to be what you're under, right? And he when he was talking about that, he's talked about it was in your heart. If you just start praying for us, if you start praying for the church, start praying for me, what's going to change is you and not me. You're going to walk out going, man, there was just something different. Yeah, it was you. And I talked about this weekend when I was out in Phoenix. You could go to church with a group of people, family, friends, it doesn't matter. Let's just say 5 or 6. And you could walk out of the church service going, man, that was incredible. And you can have that one person go, I didn't get nothing at all. And you look at him like, were we in the same service? Worship was phenomenal. The word was great. And it's like, what happened? Your heart. It was your heart. And when Jesus talks about the parable of the sower, he says the sower is always scattering the seed, and he gives the example of what comes. The first thing that comes, or the first person who comes, is the devil. He comes to snatch away that word that was on your heart. Why? Because you have a hard heart. You're rocky ground. You're concrete. And so we gotta check the condition of our heart. Are we ready to receive God's word? Have we prepared ourselves? Did we enter into his gates with praise? And so I completely agree. It's what you're under. And if you stay sensitive and you're open and you're ready to learn and to receive, you're going to get something from the Lord. So I couldn't agree more with that. And we really, really, really got to watch our hearts when we come into service. That's why I pray for myself. Like, hey, no, I got to prepare my heart. Because God won't prepare your heart for you. This is something you have to do for yourself. So I like that word. I thought that was really good. And man, talk about name dropping though. Those are two heavyweight legends in the kingdom of God right there. It's like, man, I mean, wouldn't you? You guys already know my personal hero on the faith is Jensen Franklin. So I still got that pack of gum. Just if you guys were wondering, it's hidden away, never to be eaten. It's anointed, right? But it's true. And so you can see that as people are, and by the way, I just want to throw one other thing out there. You could tell when somebody sat underneath somebody's ministry for a long time and they're still truly under them because there's that mannerisms. That absolutely is 100% true. So, and I knew that when I first heard Jabin. I was like, man, he sounds a lot like Jensen. So, or that style of preaching. So, okay, I came across this clip. Talk about practical clips. And I was like, this one-liner we could literally end the podcast off of. And this is going in line with what Jabin was talking about, right? So all these things are building on each other. And I thought to myself, we could literally end the podcast off this one line because I think this is just so crystal clear and it puts the action and the onus on us. Take a look at this one right here.
My generation struggles with porn addiction. For sure. I can't tell you the amount of times people have been, oh man, porn is just a thorn in my side, man. Can't seem to stop it. When I can't say no to it, it's just a thorn in my side. How would you shift that, mindset shift that for the person who says, porn's the thorn in my side? Or let's even take it further than that. Alcohol is the thorn in my side. Yeah. Drugs are the thorn in my side, that kind of thing.
I'm reminded of a story. My dad told me the story about the time he prayed over his power tools. I was a kid. He was working on a project in the backyard, ends up coming inside for dinner, completely forgets that his power tools are in the backyard, and he gets snuggled up in bed at night, like almost asleep, and he remembers. And he was like, Lord, protect my power tools while they're out there tonight. Let it not rain on them and let no one steal them. And he heard the Holy Spirit tell him, I do what you can't do, not what you won't do. Whoa. And it was like, whew. And that has always just stuck with me, that God does what we are incapable of, not what we just refuse to do, or what in our immaturity, we're just like, I just don't know if I'm ready for that. Well, then I guess you're not ready for freedom. If you would go all in for a woman, you would burn the bridges, you would like change careers, you'd move to a different city, you'd do all the things.
Which so many people do that.
Which they do. Why would you not jump through all these hoops for the Lord?
Woo! That one line right there. God's going to do what you can't do, not what you won't do. In other words, if you want to find freedom, you got to take responsibility for yourself. I thought that was pure gold. I stand by that. I love that. What'd you think?
Yeah, I mean, our faith takes work. We're not saved by works, but we still have a job to do.
We do.
You see, the man with leprosy.
Yep.
He comes to Jesus' feet. Like there's still a walk that took place.
Right.
There's other people who didn't come and make that same walk. And so I agree. I think too often we as pastors probably hear people speak from a defeated side where it's just like they said, it's just a thorn in my side, or it just is what it is. But it's like, hey man, like what are you doing in order to get yourself out of this situation?
Right. I have a question though. Why won't people just admit they like what they're doing though? Just say, hey, I don't want to stop. I like what I'm doing. Not that I can't stop. It's just I don't want to. Because God's not going to override your want to. Does that make sense? It's not like God's going to sit down and go, I know you want to, but I'm going to override that for you because you're incapable. But why can't people just admit, I enjoy the sin I'm in, and I really need God to help me change my heart because I need to change my view of this. Like, I know it's wrong, but the conviction's gone. I don't know. I'm trying to help people because I want to talk about addiction. I want to talk about addiction because it's real. And the reason I want to talk about addiction is reading in Matthew today, it said the flesh is weak, but the spirit is willing. So we automatically are up against it with the flesh being weak, right? I'm getting a little bit of my Devo today. And I just simply proposed, had Peter prayed 3 times, maybe he wouldn't have got caught up in the temptation. But he gave into his flesh, and therefore he got caught slipping. So what did you think about that clip before we keep going down that trail?
Yeah, I mean, I never heard of someone say the thorn in the flesh in that context. I
know.
I know I'm not arguing with them,
Yeah,
but
I don't like that context either.
Yeah, I was like, he was like sick or going blind. But anyways, like you looking at porn isn't the thorn in the flesh.
That's you looking at porn.
That's on you.
Yeah.
There's. You see Paul even in Romans 7, like the flesh, like I don't want to do this, but I keep going this way. So there is this constant struggle, even as a believer, that you have to choose not to do this. But he also tells us, "So I go on sinning until the grace may abound." It's like, no, you're going to have to fight as a believer. Like you're still in this flesh, and there's be a fight that has to be had, and it's not the Holy Spirit job to actually have that fight for you. He's there to empower you and strengthen you to go through that fight. He's there to give you freedom that you're not condemned, but it's up to you to fight. It's up to for you to say, no, I love God, I love Christ, and so I keep his commands like he commanded. So it's still up to you to keep the commands of God. And so you need to put barriers around yourself, protection around for yourself, accountability around yourself, so you can actually live out the life that God calls you to live.
Duly noted on that part. Romans 7, he says, what I don't want to do, I end up doing. And what I should be doing, I don't do at all. Why are people so surprised by their flesh? Are you ever surprised at your flesh?
Angry with it. Damn, why are we doing this again? Surprised, no.
Are you ever surprised by your flesh, that your flesh desires something that's at war with God, that's at enmity with God?
Yeah, I know what guys struggle with.
Yeah.
It's not a shock that 90% of dudes are going to struggle with all the same thing.
Right.
Like you're all dealing with the flesh.
But yeah, guys come up like, oh, Pastor, I'm ashamed to admit it. Admit what? That every guy struggles? Like what like there shouldn't be no fear in time. I guess that's the part that frustrates me. So if a guy comes up to me and goes, hey man, I'm having a problem looking right now, and I really want to stay faithful to my wife and my covenant in my eyes, all this stuff. The joke, I made a covenant with my eyes, right? And all this stuff. I look at him and go, okay. Aren't you shocked? No, not at all. Not shocked at all. Matter of fact, I'm here to help you, give you some helpful hints, let you know your flesh is going to wake up every day with you. It's going to be an everyday battle. You're going to win some, you're going to lose some, right? And I think, to me, I just don't understand. It's like this. It's like, to me, right, going by Nut and Butt Cake, and they have a Butt Cake of the month, and it just happens to be like a favorite, like a strawberries and cream or something. And to think that I'm not going to want it, that's just stupid. Of course, I love all that. Why would I not want it? But just because you want it don't mean you should have it, right? Or just because you're tempted don't mean you should give in. So I want to start off with this. To be tempted is not the sin. To give in to the temptation is the sin. And so I think I want to set some people free right here from the jump. You need to expect to be tempted, because that's just your flesh being weak. Does that make sense?
I mean, I think sorry to interrupt, but
no,
I
go
just
ahead.
had the thought, but I think it goes back to what Jabin Chavez was saying. He said every Christian needs to have a pastor. So you had said something along the lines of, why are people surprised? Well, I think sometimes when people come to faith, they're surprised about what the faith walk is going to look like, because they don't have any pastors. Mm-hmm. They don't have somebody who they're under who's going to show them, this is what it looks like. Exactly the conversation you just had. I think a lot of people don't have that because they attend church. They're not involved in church. Church is not a family for them. They don't have a pastor. They show up and they leave. I mean, that was me for years, right? I was the last person to come and I was the first person to leave. I had no relationship. I had no accountability. I had nobody who was leading me the way. And there was no change in my life. And I think a lot of people are like that. And so they say, I'm a Christian. They check the box. They attend church. Some even serve in church. Some give in church, but they don't have a pastor. So then when they run into things like this, they're caught off guard.
You're right. Well, okay. So that's why, you guys have been with me for a long time. When I talk to the men group, we're very open about stuff. Two things I want to make a note of. That's why I tell people too, you got to be careful. You got to know what your vices are. Right? You can't tell me, oh, the devil tempted me, but you was at a bar. Don't blame the devil for your own actions. You know what I mean? I struggle with alcohol. Then why are you at the bar? Why are you going to parties that have an excessive amount of alcohol? Mm-hmm. And footnote, this is why I tell people I don't have a problem with alcohol. I never really liked it to begin with. I have a problem with weed. That's why I don't go to the cannabis shops. Be like, how did I find myself in a cannabis shop? I don't know. I just walked in. All of a sudden, I found myself tempted. Well, I wonder why. Duh, right? And so I tell people that all the time. It's if you put yourself in situations, you're going to slip and fall. It's just going to happen. It's just how it works, right? Nobody's strong enough. If the man after God's own heart was not strong enough to put away temptation, if the strongest man in the Bible wasn't strong enough to flee temptation, then what are you? Even the one who God called a friend, even God's greatest pastor in Moshe, they all succumbed to the temptations. Then who are we, right? And so I think we first got to admit, hey, what are our vices? What are we going to run to? For some people, it's alcohol. And by the way, this is why, and I don't think you guys ever caught this, but I'll refresh your memories. This is why two things. Number one is I have a lot of pastor friends who drink, and I'm not knocking them, but I'm going to tell you why I don't. Because I know we have a lot of people in recovery at our church. And the closer and the larger my platform gets, the more I want to handle it with care. And I want to do things that don't cause people to stumble. Number two, I'm going to refresh you guys' memory on this one. When I had pec surgery, because I tore my pec muscle, I remember getting up on a Tuesday at a men's. I remember telling them, hey, they prescribed me. By the way, they prescribed me like 6 months worth of painkillers, like an insane amount. Like who in the heck is going to take 300, like Norcos, you know what I mean? Like 4 times a day. Like, I'm being exaggeration, but you understand what I'm saying. And I remember I either set it up on a pulpit or I set it in our small group because we had a lot of guys who were recovery pill addicts. And I said, hey, listen, I know you guys all know I'm on painkillers. Here's my exit strategy because I don't want to get addicted. And I sat down with my wife who was in charge of the pills. And I told him everything I did. Sat down with my wife who was in charge of the pills. Here's my exit strategy, and a little bit of pain is okay. I'm just not going to be that guy. I'm going to have a little bit of pain. I don't want any temptation. I don't want to be stuck on these. I don't want to be dependent on these. And a little bit of pain will stop me from rolling over on the hurt shoulder and pec. And so I kept to it, and I stayed accountable. I told the guys the next week, hey, guys, I'm completely off him. I did exactly what I said I was going to do. And people were looking at me who aren't addicts with pills, and they were like, why is he saying all this? Well, if you are, you know. And if you don't, then don't worry about it. But I'm doing this because I'm teaching accountability because I don't want to be strung out. You know how many pastors are strung out on pills, right? Let alone alcohol. Why? Because they don't have accountability because they're too embarrassed to just come out with it. And I've decided a long time ago, I'm not going to be embarrassed about my struggles. Why? Because every guy struggles. Like, how is this some big epiphany here? Like, oh my gosh, the pastor struggles. No. And I think that's what's going on. I think we've fostered and I think we've nurtured and we've bred that environment here where we don't mind talking about our struggles, because I know there's guys still struggling with the porn, and I know there's guys still struggling with the alcohol, smoking weed since it's legal in California, all this stuff. How do we get them free? But here's one that nobody talks about: the people struggling with food. The people who are struggling because they're food addicts. And when they're stressed, they eat. And when they're happy, they eat. And when they're worried, they eat. And when they're angry, they eat. And food is killing us. Yeah, you can blame the Norcos and you can blame the fentanyl, and all that is really bad, but food is killing us too. The number one killer in America is still heart disease. Diabetes amongst our people, the Hispanics and Black community, like it's 2 out of 3 are diabetic. And we're not talking about type 2 diabetes is something you can't control. It's something you can't cure. It's dietary. And this is something we have to talk about. We have to get to the root of it because our lives are starting to bear the fruit of it. And I think we just need to talk about it a little bit more. Like, we all understand that we're going to fight that flesh and there's going to be these addictions. And I love what he said. God can't what you won't, right? God won't what you can't, something like that. But you know what I'm saying? Like you got to do your part. And I think it's time we stay accountable. I think it's time we foster that accountability. We really want to see people be made whole and well. But God's not going to he won't do what you can't stop doing yourself. Like, he's only going to empower you what you're completely not capable of doing. So I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? I just talked for a while about the addiction and stuff. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to run to God. You can't run to things we talked about even yesterday in the sermon, like to satisfy yourself. There's all these different type of things, whether it be pain, whether it be like emotional pain or things like, relational pain. You run to these things to sort of satisfy yourself, or to and you're not willing to talk to someone about it to help you out, because whether you be embarrassed or you're like, well, this is what do for now, or you have this addiction, you don't want to talk to anyone. You have to be willing to talk about these things with people and not go about it alone, because sometimes it's too much to carry. But some people just have too much pride. And it was like, I would just suffer in silence.
What are your thoughts about the addiction in the church, Mike?
Well, I think for some people it's just cultural. Like you just don't talk about it. You don't talk about the stuff in your closet, and that's a huge hurdle that people have to get over. And sometimes I think also people have let others into the closet and then been hurt.
Oh,
and so then they're like, man, I'm gonna struggle with this on my own rather than bring it to the light, get some accountability, maybe even get some help. And so it's just that internal battle that everybody has some sort of internal battle that they wrestle with. And it's just, what are you going to do with it? And the stigma for a lot of people is that you just suck it up and you take care of it yourself. Yeah. And oftentimes it's just too big for you to do that.
I can see why people say, you know, today was very stressful or blah, blah, blah. I have to go get a drink to calm my nerves. The reason I say I can see that is because that's what I did with food. So from early childhood, suffering from my own traumas, right, from my own abuses, I realized that's where food came in. I suppose at 7 or 8, you're just a little too young to drink or smoke weed, so that's where food came in because it was acceptable. It was acceptable, plus, you know, food stamps. You just go to the, 7-Eleven and buy some cupcakes or whatever. And I started to notice that was my coping mechanism. And I feel like in the church, we don't talk about that enough. Food is still a coping mechanism because it's acceptable, because we don't really look down on people. But if you were a heroin addict, we'd look down on you. But since you just love your cakes and your tacos, nobody looks down on it. But really, if you're running to anything else other than Jesus and points of trauma, pain, or stress, it is an addiction. And I think we're just afraid to talk about it. But I had to come to grips with that. And I'm so grateful through good therapy and through my wife actually putting us on that diet I talked about, I got to see the effects of sugar and what sugar was doing to me, and how when I would run to it, it was giving me the same dopamine hit. That's what people don't understand. Whether it's alcohol, drugs, or food, you're getting the same end result, which is a release of dopamine, which is a reward center based, drug in your brain that's saying, hey, this feels good. Because why? Because I didn't want to deal with the pain. And the truth is the pain is there so that you can deal with it, that you can realize something's right. Just like if you broke your finger, right? Like the pain's there to let you know something needs to get healed. And unfortunately, most people don't understand in order to get that healed, you're going to have to go through more pain to get the healing. And so by understanding and recognizing my feelings and realizing, hey, why am I stressed? Why am I disappointed? Why do I want to run to this pie right now instead of running to the Lord when the Lord is the one who can heal the pain? The pie is just going to manage the pain, and the pie is just going to help coax the pain, but the pie is never going to get rid of the pain. As soon as I'm done with the pie and the dopamine's gone and the sugar's gone and all that, the pain is still there. And what I need is I need a surgeon to come put the finger back together, right? To come mend the brokenness that's there and put a gauze and a Band-Aids on it and a splint or whatever it needs so that it can finally heal. And I think that's what people are missing, but my heart goes out to those who are bound in addiction. So I want to say to the first one, to be tempted is not a sin. It's what you do with that temptation that causes that sin. But my question goes to, what do you do when you have trauma? What do you do when you have pain? What do you do when you're triggered? What advice would you give? What do you do when you're triggered?
What do you mean, when you're actually going through something or something that's...
Yeah, what would be your first step you'd recommend to people?
Man, I don't know. I mean, thinking about this, preparing for a sermon, just about trauma, and man, I don't know. Part of it I'm trying to figure out because I'm different in a way that I'm just, it's easy, whether it's good and bad. I mean, easy for me just to move on from stuff. Right. It's easy for me just to just push that aside. It works out bad too in relationships as well. If not being vulnerable and not talking through things and just moving forward. And I think some relationships suffer from that as well. And so I'm really trying to figure that out. What's the healthy way of when things come up, how to deal with it properly and not, because there's certain things I have dealt with in my life, like things like with race and things like that. And people are thinking man, you got some trauma. I'm like, well, who cares? I know who I am. Just move forward. Why are you tripping off of it? No big deal. This stuff happened. People will be like, oh my gosh. And so I'm trying to figure out what is the proper way, even just to share with people, when things do happen. I don't think my way is always the right way or even reasonable for people to handle it that way. Like, it's okay for you to be hurt. You know, that's what something that really did happen to you in this way. Like, that's reasonable for you to be going through that, but also be willing to like work through that.
Oh, okay.
And so be willing to talk to someone, have biblical, like, you know, people in your life who can speak wisdom into it, tell you when, like, hey, you know, it's time to suck it up, or it's time to, like, hey, let's talk this through and work it out.
Are there times people just really do need to get over it and suck it up? According to scripture and what you see?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know. What I'm gonna say? I'm gonna say yeah, but I want to be. I'm trying to be more balanced of like understanding what that is. For example, me and Carl talks about it. Like, we don't remember our dads really being at our sports games.
Yeah.
Some people are heartbroken by that. I'm like,
Yeah.
well, our dads had to work. So we never thought twice about it. Like, it was like, you know, yeah, you got to make money. Like, I didn't think, oh, my dad hates me. He never came to my games. Like, I got to go see a therapist. Like, and so I'm sorry, someone's hurt by that. I'm sorry. Like, I'm not trying to make fun of you in that way. And so,
hold on. But the truth of the matter is, two way people perceive it. That's why. Okay, so like, all your kids are still young. Each one of your kids is going to have a different perception of your home.
Oh yeah, my oldest son had it good. I was thinking about that.
No. I'm saying each. Well, think about your siblings. All your siblings. I mean, you come from a large family too. Yeah. All of your siblings all have a different perspective of home. Yeah. There's some base rules of fundamentals, but the rest of you can have a different perspective, even of your own dad.
Yeah.
I think you're 100% right, and it's all in the way you perceive things. So for you to say, "Hey, I understand why my dad couldn't," I mean, so I just had to get over it because, well, think about it, whether I'd rather have a roof over my head or my dad at my game. Well, I needed a roof. So I think the first thing, and I heard you say it, was you need to understand that something did happen. Right, we're going through the life of Joseph right now on Wednesday nights. It did happen. We're not going to sweep it under the rug. We're not going to be afraid to talk about it. We're acknowledging it did happen, and we feel some sort of way. We feel some sort of way about it, and there's nothing wrong with the way you feel about it. What's wrong is if you stay there. If you stay there, that's what's going to be wrong, because it's going to be to your demise. If you stay there. Because the Lord wants to work through that with you like he did the life of Joseph. He wants to work through that because why? Life hurts, God heals. So anyway, what do you think about it? You got to acknowledge where you're at, but we can't stay there.
So what advice would I give to somebody who, yeah, I mean, I was just thinking about Joseph, like he could have stayed in the pit. You know, he could have stayed in prison. Just kept doing, not kept doing. He could have done bad in prison and just stayed, right? He just got on that hamster wheel. Yeah, one of the things I guess I would tell somebody is A, you have to acknowledge it. B, surround yourself with people who will help you to move forward because you need to move forward. And then I think C is that you can't start justifying bad behavior.
Oh, come on.
Because I think a lot of people have some really, really bad things that have happened in their life. And it causes them, when it's not dealt with, to do some things that other people would deem like crazy or not smart. But they'll justify it because of the bad things that have happened to them. And you can't justify bad behavior. Even though something bad has happened to you, trauma has happened to you, you can't just say, because of this, I'm going to go and do that. Yeah. Because nothing will ever be healed that way.
Right. I love what you guys are getting at. I think it's spot on. So we're acknowledging, we're surrounding ourselves with good people. We can't justify bad behavior. One other thing that I would like to add to is you got to be willing to put in the hard work to work through it. Right. I remember when I couldn't have sugar because I was doing this diet with my wife, I had to sit in those feelings. I had to acknowledge the feelings. Hey, I'm really angry right now, and I really want to pound like some Snickers ice cream bars. Like I just could eat a whole box right now. Like I'm just that mad. Or I want some Doritos, the whole bag of Doritos. But I can't have any of that. And so I had to sit there and I had to process that pain. Like, why are you angry? What exactly triggered you in this moment? Where does that go back to? Because that's going back to a place that is just familiar. And so I'm willing to put in the hard work to get healthy. Now, am I there yet? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But am I further than when I was? Absolutely. And so you got to be willing to sit in that, to process that, and to put in the hard work of getting yourself healthy. It's like this. I'm being satirical here, but I'm also being honest, okay? If you really wanted six-pack abs, could you get six-pack abs?
Yes.
If you really wanted it. Yeah. Could you really get six-pack abs if you really wanted it?
Yeah. It's a lot of work.
It's going to be a lot of work, probably a lot of peptides, probably steroids, who knows. But my point is you could really get it. There's enough stuff out there that you could really get it. But do you want it?
No. I've done it. It ain't worth it. I'm just telling anyone out there, it ain't worth it.
Okay. Do you want it?
No.
No, nobody. Right. So therefore, yeah, exactly.
Eat the Snicker bars.
Yeah.
Pound of.
Yeah.
Guess who cares? Nobody.
Yeah. But my point is, you guys understand my point. Yes, we can work through this, and it is possible. But I think people who are battling addiction, there's something broke. They've rerouted neurological pathways, as we all know from the books we read. But there's also something broken. We got to start back in the beginning. We got to be willing to put in the hard work. There's nothing lazy about the Christian faith. Mm-hmm. Going back to what we just read a couple of days ago in Matthew, the parable of the 10 talents, he said, "You wicked and lazy servant." And then he goes on to say, he doubles down, "You could have at least." And I think people approach Christ like Christ is going to do it all. No, he's only going to do for you what you cannot do for yourself. But you have to listen. Christ is going to set you free. He's going to give you the strength and ability through the person, the power, the promise, and presence of the Holy Spirit, right, to overcome your addiction. But you got to get rid of the computer. I tell the story all the time. It's a true story. It got me in a lot of trouble, but it's a true story. It's a real story. I was a junior high youth pastor, and I had my own room, my own class. And we had a MacBook up there. I don't know. It was like the MacBook Pro, whatever. You know, the computer that's all in one, the screen and all that's in one. And it happened at least 3 times. This might have been the 4th time, but it doesn't matter. The point of the story, right? There kept being pornography on the church computer in my classroom. And I kept telling people, and they kept telling me, well, we're going to put Covenant Eyes on there. We're going to do this. And the more stuff they put on, the more porn that came up. And so finally, I got so sick and tired of people looking at pornography in the place where I'm supposed to be teaching junior hires, and it's got a foul spirit in there. I just got so angry. I ripped the computer out of the wall, and I threw it off the 2nd story. I went back into my HR to my executive pastor and said, we will no longer have a porn problem. He says, why? Because I got rid of the computer. He goes, what'd you do? I said, I threw it off the 2nd story balcony. He goes, you threw a computer off the 2nd story balcony? I said, I sure did. I got in a lot of trouble for that. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, you're mad at me for throwing the computer off the balcony, but you're not mad at the person who keeps looking at porn while I'm trying to run junior high class. That's the epitome of swallowing that, or choke on a gnat and swallow a camel. But you're mad at me and ready to fire me and write me up because I threw the computer off the 2nd story balcony. But you know what? Parents applauded me. Just so you know, parents applauded me. They were truly grateful for me. But the executive pastoral staff is a little upset that I broke all that money, spent all that money. What are you laughing at? That's an Anthony thing. You're looking at me like, that's my pastor.
Next time, can you let us know? We'll move it for you.
Yeah, looks like there probably was some middle ground there.
Are you surprised at what I did?
No, not at all. But there's another case I'll give you. I had a guy come to me, said, I'm struggling with porn, right?
Yeah.
Talk about it. Comes back, still struggling. This goes on for months.
Sure.
And I can't take it anymore. I say, hey, man, you need to go home. You need to take a baseball bat to your computer.
That's it.
He does it.
Oh, okay.
You know what he does?
Phone.
Picks up the phone.
Yeah.
Gets a new computer.
Yeah.
You got to work.
You got to work.
You got to work. You can do all these different things. You can go to therapy. You can find friends. You can change your surroundings. But at the end of the day, you got to do some work.
Going back to Revelation, it says that the lazy and the coward are outside of the kingdom. You said you want to remember because one of my favorite, God don't do lazy, and then you started finding scriptures on lazy. Mm-hmm. It's true though. You got to do the work. And I think people are afraid to do the work because you know why, Bishop? It's hard work. It's hard to tell yourself no. The rhetorical question again. Have you ever had a really good meal and you know you're eating way too much and you're gonna be suffering, but you just don't tell yourself? It's hard to say no. It's hard to say no. And I think that's what people got to understand. Go back to the temptation of Christ. Matthew 4. What was it all about? Jesus saying no. That's what it was all about. He was saying no. And that's what it is at the end of the day. We've got to be able to tell ourselves no. And if we don't, go back to what Jabez said, if we don't have somebody in our lives who can tell us no, then we're in trouble. Because the truth is, we won't tell ourselves no. You know what I mean? maybe half the time, right, on a good week. But the other, no, 7 out of 10, we justifying. Well, it was a long week. It was this or it was that, especially on sins that are more socially acceptable, right? And so it's that self-control part, which is a fruit of the Spirit, right? Self-control, that we really got to rein that in. But you're going to have to tell yourself no. And so I'm talking to all the addicts out there as a recovering one myself. Like, I get it. But at the end of the day, you're still going to have to do the hard work of telling yourself no and finding alternative methods. Go for a walk, learn a breathing technique, call a friend, do something, get a dumb phone instead of a smartphone. But you get that, what was that, the Nokia 610, that brick phone? You can't look at anything on that thing.
Just Snake.
It should, I'd whoop anybody in Snake, just for the record. But like, okay, do what you need to do though, is what I'm saying, right? And I think that's part of doing the hard work. So I would just encourage everybody.
Yeah, we're young adults yesterday, and Ben did a great job speaking. And I was like, man, to be young like that and want to follow Christ, you really have to have some resolve.
Yeah.
Like, you just have to have it. I mean, one reason I really like squat. Well, I used to like squatting. I'm just too old. My knees hurt, hips hurt. But because
eat
like
Snickers instead.
But you'll put weight on the bar, like heavy, and you have to like, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna stand up. Like, you have to have some resolve. Like, as you get to a certain weight, and I love that because the mental capacity you had to have to like, I'm gonna do this or I'm gonna die. Like, you feel that way. But I feel like that's what faith. Like, I'm gonna leave this place.
Right.
I'm gonna leave church today, and this week I'm gonna live for Christ.
Right.
Like, it has to be like this resolve because everything's coming against you, and there's times you're by yourself and you have to say, not today.
Yeah.
I'm not looking at that today.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna follow Christ today. I'm gonna pick up my Bible today, or I'm gonna make the phone call today when I want to look at that. I'm gonna call someone and say, hey, I pray for me in this one. It has to be some type of resolve that you have to say, no, this week I'm gonna fight and I'm gonna live for Christ.
I want to just say that's blanket across the board. Whether it's eating that next bite, whether it's taking that next pill, drinking that next drink, taking that next puff, whatever, you have to have resolve. You have to say within yourself, I'm going to find alternative methods and alternative routes so that I can have that resolve to say no. And it starts with my walk with Christ. It starts, I heard somebody say the other day, it's not just what you think, it's what you believe. Because the devil's allowed to put thoughts in your head, and that's why you're supposed to take every thought captive. But it's what you confess is what you believe.
Yeah.
And so you have to start confessing different and believing different, because then you start behaving different.
Yeah, when I'm dieting, I always tell, oh, hunger's my friend. I get hungry, oh, here's my friend. I'm about to lose weight. Yeah. I'm literally talking to myself. It's all crazy. But it's like, oh, yeah, here we go. And we're about to lose some weight now.
Yeah, we were out to dinner. We were out to dinner in Phoenix, and man, we were talking about the guy was like, well, how, I saw an old picture of you. How'd you lose all this weight? And then I showed him my own license, my old license. I told him what my son said. My son said I was pushing 300, and I was never pushing 300 for the record, but he's convinced. He said 295 then. I said, no, I was never 295, maybe 280, but not 295. So anyway, they were like, hey, well, how did you do it? And I said, well, I told myself no. Like, were you hungry? I was always hungry. Like, you're never not hungry. Like, you just have to tell yourself no. You have to do the hard work, right? This isn't easy. And so, but this is what I tell everybody. Large results swing on small hinges. Just like large doors swing on small hinges, large results swing literally on small hinges, small decisions that you make by tweaking this and tweaking that. And so I just tell everybody all the time, if you want to see those results, right? If you want to see those changes, you're going to have to do the hard work. And it starts with the small decisions. So, okay, let's get back into it. I did a little bit of my Matthew take, talking about the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. I stand by what I said. I think had Peter been awake to pray, I don't know that he falls into temptation. I think he'd have rebounded a lot better, a lot quicker, a lot sooner. But, hey, the flesh, people got to admit, the flesh is strong. The flesh is real strong. You know what I mean? And so if we don't keep it in check, it'll rule over us. So I just want to throw that. What did you get in Matthew this last week? Where you at?
Jesus, he's there, and he's, if you allow this cup to pass from me, he keeps coming back, and it was like, well, if the only way for this to pass from me to drink this cup, he's basically, I'll drink it. And the willingness for him to get to where his Father wanted him to be. Like, I have to go through this. And a lot of times, no one wants to go through pain. No one wants to go through struggle. He knew that this would be physical pain, bearing the sins of the world, separation from the Father. I have to go through this so that we could be with him.
Right.
And he was willing to go through it.
Yeah.
And there's times, I think, in our Christian walk too, we see this example that there's something before us that we have to go through, some pain we have to go through, some struggle we have to go through to get to where God wants us to be. And it's not ideal, it's not what we want, but it's like, God, if this is what I have to do, I'm willing to do it. You have to be willing.
Even hearing you say that just gets me all sort of type of way. Like, God wants to trust us with this pain. Who wakes up in the morning going, I can't wait for the pain today? Like that is.
Well, Jesus gives us an example. We can ask. Maybe there's another way. Give us some time. Like,
Just throwing it out there?
Yeah.
Just throwing it out, hey, Lord, you got another way?
Yeah, let's make sure.
Yeah. We're going to double check. What'd you get, Matthew? That was good.
Matthew 23, just the 7 woes that Jesus gives to the Pharisees. And
what translation did you read that in just real quick?
The NIV.
So it said twice the son of hell as you are. Yeah.
12:7. And it had me thinking a couple different ways. One of which is like the Pharisees working so hard to believing what they were doing was right. Jesus is right in front of them telling them what they're doing is wrong. And then them standing on it like, no, this is right. And so one take on that is like how, and I talked about this yesterday in this message over here, is like, we could be thinking that we're doing something right, but our heart is in a bad spot and we're just completely missing it. Oh, yeah. And so then it got me thinking, like, for myself, like, I don't want to miss, like, what Jesus has for me. Even with the best of intentions, and I'm hoping that I'm not pharisaical or whatever,
That was good, yeah.
And so I don't find myself in that camp, but just in the camp of like, hey, like, what does God want? What is God speaking to me in every area of my life? Like, I don't want to miss it, even when I'm feeling like I have the best of intentions, right. Or you're caught in comparison and saying like, hey, well, I must be doing things right because I'm not like that, or I'm not how I used to be, but that still may not be what Jesus is telling me to do. And so I just, I'm challenged to continue to come back to the feet of Jesus. Like, hey, what am I really supposed to do? What does this really look like for every area of my life? And I just feel like I'm not there.
Yeah. I like what you said. I don't want to be pharisaical, and to think of the 7 woes. And he says you put cumbersome weights on them. You put a burden on them that you yourself don't carry. And all I could think of when I read that was take the plank out of your own eye before you take the speck out of your brother's. And I think the first thing we always have to do is look inward before we look outward. We got to always look inward. Are we doing right by the Lord? Are we doing what he's asking us? Or what's our obedience language like today? Our obedience level at today? What is it really? Am I obeying everything God has asked me to do? Am I walking in the vertical and the horizontal commandments, right? The first and second table. Am I doing all that he's requiring of me? I'm only using that as just like a litmus test of just, am I walking in community? Am I walking in love? Am I loving him, right? Am I walking in covenant with him? And that's what I hear is like their whole goal was to do as I say, not as I do. And Jesus was like, no, your walk needs to match your talk, and your talk needs to match your walk. And I think if we will hold ourselves to a standard, then we'll be actually more gracious towards others because we're so quick to forgive ourselves. I say this all the time. When you cut somebody off and you wave, you're like, oh, I'm so sorry. You want them to forgive you.
I just didn't see it.
Exactly. It was really my bad. But when they cut you off, you're ready to run them off the road. And it's like, no, you got to have the same level of grace, the same mercy. And when you always look inward instead of outward, you will have that. So the same grace you give yourself is the same grace you need to give others. And that's why I tell people. So the 7 woes, I always look inward, like, am I being like pharisaical, right? Sadduceical, whatever. Am I being that? Because I don't want to be that. I got to check my own heart. What were we going to say?
No, I mean, especially when I meet with guys and we talk about marriage, I'm not judging them. I end up praying for both our marriages. If they don't notice it, like, I'm like, oh man, I think I'm doing that. Tell me to go fix this because of the issue of my marriage. I'm never
judging. Real though. That's real.
No, I'm not even joking. I'm dead serious. This, I'm like, man, because I want to get better as well. I'm not like, man, I want to help them. And also, I was like, man, I got to check myself and go make some adjustments.
You laying hands on yourself, huh? You laying hands on him. Oh, by the way, hold on. And so, Lord, I'm just
going to pray for you. I'll pray for both our marriages right now.
Lord, help me. I mean, help him.
Help us. But it's true, though. And I think I tell people all the time, you know how you don't get religious? You realize yourself what you're bad at, what you're missing the mark on. That's how you stop from being religious. Because I tell people all the time, it's like, there would be if I didn't get my act together. Like, I'm one step away from that myself. So, Lord, help me, And so I completely agree. Let's talk about the message. So you were over here at Palm Campus speaking, so we don't really know what you talked about. But give us a highlight of what you feel a highlight from your message was, and then let's talk about Raquel, your beautiful wife who got to speak over at the main campus. talked about you wearing some boots, so we're going to say you're going to get on a horse and ride a boot. Or no, ride a horse and put on boots.
You had no horse.
I don't know what I'm saying, but you know what you're going to do.
We had the same points. I saw a little bit of her message. I think we approached it maybe a little bit differently. There was a part where, so the points where you have to surrender your heart to God, you have to guard your heart, you have to surrender your heart, you have to guard your heart, and then you can ask God for a new heart. And I think one of the things that stuck out to me was just guarding my heart and the importance of making sure that excuse me. The story I used was a story of I made the story up of the tale of two horses, and she gave me the idea, but I just kind of rolled it my own way. And essentially, we have the power to give the reins, the rider and the horse relationship, but we have the power. The horse doesn't have the power to give the reins to the rider, but we have the power to give the reins of our hearts to whoever the rider is going to be. And are we going to give the reins of our heart to the Lord, or are we going to give the reins of our heart to Satan? And I think for me, it's not necessarily like just inwardly, right? Like for me personally, it's not I'm giving the reins over to the enemy and I'm doing some crazy and living some crazy lifestyle, but it's more of like taking every thought captive. Right, it's the small decisions. It's the day in the day out, and having character and making sure that I'm living a life that I want people to remember me for. And but a lot of that for me is like in my mind. I'm real heady when it comes to certain things, and so I will inadvertently give the reins over to the enemy to just have his way. And then in my mind, and then also in my heart, and the decisions that I make. Judging people by the specs, and while I've got double planks, in my eyes. A lot of that is just from the heart. One of the things I had mentioned is like sometimes we'll make decisions, or not decisions, we'll have actions, or we'll say something and say, I don't know where that came from.
Well, it came from within.
Yeah, it comes from within. And so I just think about the different times that I have said something and wanted to reel the words in as they're coming out of my mouth, and but all that is like deposits that I'm placing inside of my heart. So anyway, those are kind of some things that stuck out for me.
No, that's good stuff. What did you get from your wife's messages? I know you got a whole treasure trove of notes over there from your wife's teaching yesterday. I know that you took copious amounts of notes, but just give us one thought.
Okay. She said the greatest danger is not having a strong heart, it's giving the reins of your heart to the wrong rider.
Wow.
And I just kept thinking, a heart surrendered to God will always be satisfied.
Yeah, absolutely.
But at times it could be hard when you're going through stuff to believe that. And you have to stay strong to that. No, I need to keep surrendering. Even in this moment, I don't feel satisfied by you, God. Like, I feel like this is hard. I feel like the struggle. I feel like there's no joy. I feel like there's no peace in this moment. And then you use the wrong things to cope. In that moment, that's when the enemy comes. Well, cope with this. Cope with this, or your flesh, or the wrong friend. Cope with this. And you have to trust God in that moment. No, God, I still give you my heart. I know I am going to be satisfied. I know the end's coming on the other side of this, my obedience. Like, it's going to come. And so continue. Cause I was like, man, right now in church right now, you guys all agree with this. This all sounds great. But it's like when you leave this place and you go back to your same struggles tomorrow, are you still going to trust them and be happy in those moments?
That is so good. And I listened to halfway of your wife's message. She did a phenomenal job. As always, though, she's a great communicator, great teacher, great illustration, great storyteller. And I always go back to it. Don't follow your heart. Like, whoever said that, you know what I mean? Like, that's just not good. Like, your heart is desperately wicked and deceitful above all things, the Bible says. And, I tell people all the time, if you'd have followed your heart, you wouldn't be here. So you got to be real careful because it can't play a trick on you. I have a question I think we need to close with, though, okay? And I think it's a question, whether you've been in church 1 month, 1 year, or the last 10 years, you're going to face this sooner or later. How do we stop our hearts from growing cold, from growing hard? And I want to use that. You can pick whatever, whether it's your walk between you and the Lord, your walk between the Lord and his people, or just your walk in general towards your family, friends, job, whatever. How do we prevent our heart from growing cold? And you can pick whatever example you want to give, whether it's relational or situational, but you can pick that. But let's give our listeners some advice on how do we prevent our heart from growing cold. Go ahead, Bishop. Take us away. Pick whatever you want, though. By the way, relationship or job or whatever.
Man, I think we said it already. At least what I think is, be willing to show people the same grace you show yourself. For the most part, none of us give up on ourselves. We think, oh, we'll make it, or I'll forgive yourself. Yeah. But other people, you won't. Yeah. Eventually, you're just like, that's enough. Now, there's people, all of us. There's people like, man, someone to go meet up. Man, you're happy to go meet with them, eat with them, hang out with them. And there's some people where it's like, man, because maybe they don't take any advice you say. It's always something like always a struggle, and it's like, but in those moments, I think it's just God loves you even though we're stubborn. Like, would you just keep loving other people as well? And I think it's reminding ourselves how gracious God is to us will help us be more gracious to other people. And so, I mean, that's with, my kids, I'm their only dad, and no matter what they do, I need to be there to discipline them, but also in love. Because I'm the only one that can give them that certain kind of love. And so be willing to give that to my wife. I don't want anyone else to love my wife. and so I gotta make sure I can show that despite whatever's going on, like even though we may have to have some disagreements, like working that out to still be able to work that out where I know the love is, back and forth. And so, and that's in church and any other way. So be willing to show that grace no matter what.
That was so good. That was so good. Mike, what you got? What you got for those listening?
Man, there's a lot. There's a lot you could choose.
Yeah, pick one. Yeah.
One of them is, just remember that your stuff stinks too.
Oh, okay.
And just not putting yourself up on such a high pedestal, because we have mentioned that now a few times of the plank in your eye and the speck in others. But if you're just realistic, like in giving other people the benefit of the doubt, giving other people grace. So that / you got to have people in your life who will help you stay humble. If you have people in your life who help you stay humble, it's one thing. It's one thing to be surrounded by people who are friends, and it's another thing to be surrounded by people who will keep it real. And as guys, we like to say that we like those types of people, but we avoid those conversations. So you can't say you like that and then avoid the conversation. You got to say you like that and then lean into the conversation.
So good, both of you. I'm going to take a little bit of different route and talk about how to keep your heart soft and tender towards the Lord. I'm reminded, being the old man on this panel here, of talking to friends and different, listening to different sports analysts and things. And when they talk about the greats, the Kareem Abdul-Jabbars, the Michael Jordans, even the Isaiah Thomases and, these guys, even the new guys, Steph Curry, what's their go-to move? Their go-to move, right? You think about the Jerry Rices, the Tim Browns, the really good athletes who played football, whatever sport it is, right? The go-to moves. What's their go-to move? And I think in your faith, you got to have a go-to move. When I think about keeping your heart tender towards the Lord, man, life would just beat the you-know-what out of you. It'd just, and with joy, and it'll kick you when you're down. Life has its way of just really giving it to you. And if you're not careful, you can question yourself, as we all do. Where's the Lord? And so we say things like, when we don't see his hand, we can still trust his heart. All of that is correct. Just what do you do when you're in the midst of the valley and somebody gives you that word? It's hard to believe. What do you mean God's with me? I just got this horrible diagnosis of cancer. I just lost my job. My bills are overdue. What do you mean I can trust his heart? I can't see his hand. You want me to trust his heart? How do you keep your heart tender? What's your go-to move? And as I study scripture, and as I study the patriarchs and the matriarchs of the Bible, those who we can learn, as Paul says, a great cloud of witnesses. As we see these different examples, I noticed they all had a go-to move. And that is, they went and they sought the Lord. Whether it was a special place in a mountain, a burning bush in a fire, a tabernacle for David, the Ark of the Covenant, the place where God's presence is, or whether it was the house of God in Gibeon. No matter what it was, everybody had a go-to move. Jesus had a go-to move. Anytime the spot got hot, he would walk away, not in isolation, but in contemplation. He would go away so he could be with his father, and they could have a dialogue all night long. They'd begin to talk about these things. And just when he got the worst news of all, that they had killed his cousin, he went and he talked to his father, and he went on a healing spree. He went on a miracle spree. He said, I'll show the devil you ain't going to win. And so you see these different examples, and I think, what's your go-to move? When you get that pink slip at your job, what's your go-to move? When you get the bad doctor's report, what's your go-to move? And I would just simply submit to you, in order to keep your heart tender and soft before the Lord, you got to have a go-to move. For some of you, it's going to be a go-to worship song. Shout out Corey Asbury, Love is Strong. It's my go-to song. For others, it's going to be a go-to room. I go to my secret place. I go to my prayer closet. I go to my room where nobody else is going to bother me. It's just me and the Lord, nothing between us. For some others, it's going to be a drive. What I'm going to say to you is, like every great athlete, perfect that go-to move. Perfect it. Get it so down, so memorized that even your body knows what to do before it's even happening. I got to go on that drive. I got to put on that song. If you'll get yourself a go-to move, and you'll get yourself a place where you are uninterrupted, where you could be just you and Jesus, I'm telling you right now, life can throw everything in the kitchen sink at you, and you will not be moved. You will be the epitome of what Jesus said in Scripture, a man who built his house on the rock. Winds came, the rain came, the storms blew, but what? Nothing happened, because he had built upon that rock. You got to get you a go-to move, because I'm telling you right now, life is going to come at you every which way. But if you can find yourself in the presence of the Lord, serving him right where he said he would be, and he knew right where you would be, I'm telling you right now, you're going to keep your heart sensitive. You're going to keep your heart tender before the Lord. Why? Because the number one job of the enemy is to get your heart hard. It's to get you calloused. It's to get you out of the presence of the Lord. So why? Because if you're not in the presence of the Lord, he's going to eat your lunch. So if he can get your heart hard, he knows he's got you. So keep your heart tender by staying sensitive to the Lord. Get you a go-to move and a go-to place. You'll see God will meet you there. This is Not For The Podcast. Peace, and I'm out.